Alrighty then, here we are. Another week around the Trashfire. Your host, Mathias, along with the boy.
John,
Did you enjoy your vacation?
I did enjoy my vacation.
We're not doing this for a whole week.
Yeah, I did miss talking about Warhammer, but it's okay. We have today.
We have today, which surprising, not enough. Actually, not a lot of news from G
Yeah.
Dubs.
Well, today didn't make any posts because of the royal funeral, so zero. And Monday is usually when they give like new models, stuff like that. So we got nothing.
That is true. We do have nothing. No new model Monday, which the first time we haven't had a new model Monday in a long time.
Maybe we'll have it tomorrow. They'll just push it all the articles tomorrow.
It'll be a one big article tomorrow.
Very possible.
Oh, that would be cool to see. Though, I mean, really, I'm only really interested in the what's it called? The new model Monday. But we have other things we can talk about. Actually, quite a lot of stuff to talk about. Not just the GW articles.
Ooh.
But first, we're gonna start with the GW articles. Starting with our favorite Sunday preview.
Day preview.
And what we got here? We got the Disciples of Tzeentch Codex or Battle Tome coming out.
Yep, not the Lumineth one, just the Tzeentch one. Interestingly.
Well, I mean, of course. Tzeentch is, king. Why would we want the elves? The elves already have enough stuff. They don't need any more. But there we go. We're getting the battle box, which looks like 10 Zangors, 3 Flamers, 3 Screamers, and I don't know what the soldiers are called.
The Pyrrhic Acolytes.
The Acolytes. There we go. And then some wizard on a disc.
It looks like a really solid box, I will say.
Oh yeah?
I just wish it had the Zangor Shamans or the Skyfires, but other than, it has demons and it has the Screamers, so still a pretty solid box for Disciples of Tzeentch players.
I'll take your word on it. I wouldn't really grab this box. Because I pretty much have everything in this box. Well, that's a lie. I don't have the Screamers. And I don't have the Acolytes, but I can't use those in 40k. Well, the Acolytes I can't use.
Yeah, unless you proxy them as cultists, I guess, but
Yeah, but I don't know if anyone would actually allow that to happen.
are they just way too big or something?
I think they are. Well, I would have to compare them to the new cultists, right?
Oh, that's true. I think new cultists are on 28s. These guys are on 32, so they're kind of sizable.
They kind of beefy boys, so probably not the best choice to use as cultists, especially if you want to hide them. But yep, we got that going on. We got the Tzeentch dice, which we're back to just normal solid color dice.
Yeah, no, to be fair, it is AOS. The 40k ones were the ones with the fancy backing.
True, but I feel like they do this with a lot of their dice. I thought
Just
it was AOS to usually put more effort into the dice.
Guess not this time.
Once again, my boy Tzeentch getting slighted, like always. I mean, it's not as bad as Korn, but it still happens. Get that. We got the War Scrolls. And that's pretty much it for the Tzeentch stuff. All in all, first time buyers, go for it. I'm sure John has said it's a good deal. I would take his word on it, because he knows a bit more about the army than I do in terms of AOS. So how
No,
is your AOS skills now?
I haven't played in a while just because it's a lot to play AOS because there's just so much rules now, especially with just the secondaries and all that. But I keep up a bit with the meta, and it's still pretty balanced. I think the 40k meta is pretty. If you look at tournament win rates, it's pretty balanced across several. Not every army is viable, but there's a greater spread of winning armies. At least until Vote 10 comes out, then Vote 10 will destroy the balance, but it's okay. But yeah, AOS is pretty stable right now.
No, that's all you could really ask for in a game. Is to be stable. Which is better than most games.
Yes.
Moving on from this, we got some made to order Space Marines. Some very, very, very old Space Marines.
Yeah, I mean these are great for Heresy.
True, you can use them in Heresy. But I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I've ever seen anyone use any of these models. Have you?
In person, I think the Librarian and Terminator armor. The power armor dudes with the different Vox things are actually really good consoles for Horus Heresy, I think. But the librarians, I don't think I've seen. I already have a librarian, so I don't think I'll be picking these up.
Yeah, I kind of like them, to be honest, but except for this guy with a sword and the bull pistol, it's just like, no thank you. But everything else looks pretty. Looks like it holds up still. Doesn't show its age too much. You could probably get away with it in 30k. Or 40k if you really wanted to have a little
Yeah.
firstborn.
Run some firstborn. For some reason.
Why not? They're cheap.
They are cheap.
Moving on, we got made to order the Fellowship of the Ring. Which I didn't know they weren't selling this anymore.
Yeah, I think it's an alternate. They're all alternate sculpts because there's a regular Fellowship, the plastic one. I think these are metal, and these are alternate sculpts. Yeah, they made a lot of alternate sculpts of everything in Lord of the Rings.
Well, I guess they got to make their models somehow, right?
Right.
Well, we got that. That's pretty much it. And then everything goes into Black Library. We got the Awakening, some Inquisition book, and that's it. Not a lot happening this week. And of course, with Warhammer Plus, we got Interrogator Episode 9. That's about it in terms of Warhammer Plus.
I accidentally resubscribed to Warhammer Plus, but you know what? I'm not mad. I got the Vindicator. He's pretty cool.
You accidentally?
I didn't unsubscribe, so I just got an email. Hey, thank you for your subscription. Like, whoops. I heard Interrogator is really good though, so I might start watching that.
Oh, I wonder how many episodes it's supposed to be.
Well, this is episode 9, so. And I think now I was talking to some people and saw some posts online about how Warhammer Plus is actually worth subscribing to now that there's a lot of good content available. So listeners, if you're thinking about subscribing, a lot of people saying it's more worth it now. Now that we have a year's worth of content. And then
I think it needs another year, but that's my opinion. Needs one more year to generate the content, and it perfect.
But don't forget, you get the miniature. I think the miniature drives up the value. Without the miniature, I would be way more hesitant, actually. But considering you get like a $40 miniature with your subscription, then because the year subscription is like $70, so you're paying $30 for a year. And Lavindicator is going for like an average like $70 on eBay. So
You talking about the Warhammer Plus Vindicator, right?
yeah, the Vindicator.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's an exclusive model. Of course, the price is gonna go up.
Right.
Yeah, I think another year, and then I might consider it because of all the content that it would have.
There you go.
But when they announced Warhammer Plus, they announced 14 series, and I think we only got like
Yeah.
4, maybe 5. So it's still waiting on a lot of that stuff. And like I said, I think if I was to do Warhammer Plus this year, I would definitely go for the fantasy model. I think I like that one more over the Korn Terminator Lord. But that's just my opinion. Moving on. Something that we're not good at here. Magic the Gathering had more card reveals of the 40k stuff.
They did.
Yeah, and I don't know what any of this means, but my game group said they're all gonna pick up a commander deck, so I guess I am gonna have to pick up one and learn how to play this game, so I understand what any of this means.
I'll probably get the Chaos one just to have. And Magic cards have a pretty good investment value, especially something limited edition like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's one of those things where like you'd probably make your money back and maybe get some more money selling this 2 years from now. But it's pretty pricey though. Like a single deck is like what, 70, $80 on eBay. Because
Well,
I
a
think
commander deck is 100 cards.
yeah.
It's
So
all singles, so there's no
so
duplicates except for lands. But
yeah, I'll probably get the Chaos one up and that's it.
I'm gonna go for the Krons.
There you go.
Everyone else has already picked their factions. Can't believe they're not including the Eldari. What kind of nonsense is this? But yeah, there we go. We got that. I would have brought someone on here who knows Magic, but they were a bit busy, so I can't really explain all this. But exciting stuff, nonetheless. Moving on to the next thing, something you would be happy about: Dawnbringer preview. Gonna look at the cities of Sigmar Arsenal. It's not quite the full models yet, but we're getting there.
We're getting there. But it's a reminder that I should set some hobby funds aside for this release because this is hype. I just the regular human hype is real.
Yeah, all we get is just
I
weapons.
had my fill of fantastical creatures. I want some regular people.
Some regular people.
Yep.
Well, once we get some regular people, then they can do Warhammer 3 Vermintide, in AOS. Bring back all the old characters. But yeah, there we go. Not too much, just weapons, but they're coming next year. When would you predict the humans to come out?
Hopefully before the end of the year. I
By the
mean,
end of
World
this year?
Eaters are going to be. Yeah, I said hopefully. I mean, World Eaters are going to be before the year ends. So, or no, World Eaters are going to be winter, so it could be next year. So actually,
Well, they already said that Slaves of Darkness was the last AOS army of the year.
yeah, probably next year then. But it's fine. I mean, and the fact that we haven't seen any fully painted miniatures yet, that makes me think even more it's going to be next year.
I would say LVO is when they're going to reveal it. That's my guess. And then we'll probably get it a month after, so it would be in March. Would be my prediction.
That would be kind of hype.
Yeah, it'd be good. I mean, 40K is coming to a close. World Eaters being the last army to get a book, so I would think fantasy, I mean AOS would be pumping up production now.
Mm-hmm.
So March, even though I think that's a bit too late, but whatever. There's still other AOS armies to get books and single models out for. Moving on from the next thing, we got a bunch of 30K.
We do have a bunch of 30K.
Bunch of 30K. Starting with the first thing, we got another campaign.
Yeah, I thought they were done with this, but I guess not, which is fine because I haven't gotten a Blood Angels one yet. Although interestingly, apparently this document was from an interview round where they had the interviewees make rules to see if they'd be a good fit. And they just took one of the guys' works and changed it a bit and then posted it, which apparently is really common in the gaming industry, not just GW.
It just seems like that one meme, you know. Let me copy your homework, you know. Sure, just don't make it too obvious. And then here we
And
are.
it's like, just kidding. Here you go. And also, you sign a contract. Anyways, yeah, there's a 1,000 Suns unit here. Pretty decent, not too exciting. Like, honestly, that's most of the units in these PDFs. They're just interesting and not too exciting.
There's only so much you could do with firstborn Marines, right?
I mean,
They're all kind of generic.
Well, I think it's because these units won't have official models. They're just converted from firstborn stuff, as opposed to like the actual Legion units that have their own models. So I could see why they choose to just be more of like a variation of a basic unit, as opposed to something completely different, like Templar Brethren, or like Suzerain or Galvorback or something.
Let's see.
But it seems like a Tech Marine kind of dude or unit has a ability to repair stuff.
I mean, it's cool. Is this stuff legal in the game, or is this just strictly narrative stuff?
So everything in 30K is legal. There's no distinction between like narrative and legacy or whatever. Everything is fair game in every event, unless stated otherwise. But 90% of the events 99% of the events I've seen are allowing everything. Mainly because like 30K isn't really seen as a competitive game, so it's like, oh, what makes this less balanced than the main rules? Because the main rules are definitely not balanced. There's some Legion units that are just way better than others. So yeah, all of this is fair game.
Well, you brought up tournament play or competitive play. How has the scene been since the drop?
I mean, LVO is going to have a competitive 30K tournament, so that's going to be. I'm debating whether I want to play in that, but I don't know. We'll see. And honestly, it was mainly just to have a place for people to play without restrictions, because the main narrative event has a lot of restrictions. Like there's you play 3 games or something, or you play 2 games on one day, and the army building restrictions are pretty, I guess, strict. Special characters, no Primarchs. You can only have X amount of vehicles per infantry unit, stuff like that. So it's very specific. And then the next game, your list goes up from 2,000 to 3,000 points, and you have to use the list you had in the previous game. So you have your 2,000 points list has to be in your 3,000 point list, stuff like that. While as the competitive event on day 2 is just 3 games, 3,000 points, book missions, no restrictions. Go to town kind of thing.
Oh, that's good. But do you think it'll be big enough, a big scene, or do you think it's still going to be mainly narrative play?
I mean, the thing is, 30K players say they're narrative, but narrative is just. So, in my opinion, true narrative is like the LVO event I just mentioned, where there's actual army restrictions. Just playing a game where you play a mission and build an army and then just play the game. I don't think it's narrative. Or just because you're like, oh, I have a themed army, doesn't mean it's necessarily narrative. So I think the 30K community is actually more competitive than it thinks it is, there's just this weird kind of like, I'm better than 40k because I'm not a tournament meta community, even though there is a kind of meta in 30k. A big example is Recon Marines are really good right now, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, check out this Recon Marine unit I painted," and it's obvious people are working on those because they're good,
Of
not because
course.
they're necessarily cool. Because otherwise, it wouldn't be so disproportionate that you have this unit that's coincidentally really good, and a lot of people are working on it, kind of thing. But at the same time, um, the meta is still. I mean, we're gonna talk about it more with the next article, but you know, I've said this before on cast, but right now only Space Marines come out. Well, Mechanicum just came out actually, and I played a game on the weekend, which I'll talk about later. But Space Marines came out for a while, and Mechanicum just came out, and the meta still hasn't caught up, and I don't think it will catch up just because like 80-90% of 30k players play Space Marine Legions. So it's hard to talk about how things are effective against different units. And I'll talk to it more. I'll talk about it more at Hobby Rants later. But like in my game, it was very apparent that the units I had did really well because the enemy was used to playing against Space Marines. And not necessarily because Mechanicum are stronger. In fact, Mechanicum are arguably weaker than last edition, but just because just because people aren't, are used to playing against Space Marines, and they build their armies and they play the game, against Space, or they play the game because they're in a way that's derivative of being used to playing against Space Marines. They're not ready to play against. They get surprised with how Mechanicum are, and it's going to be even more so when Custodians and Solar Ox and Militia and Demons come out. But yeah, well, I mean, again, like, so to answer your question, yeah, I think the competitive scene is definitely growing just because people, in my opinion, unknowingly play competitively. They just don't admit it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, every popular game will get a competitive scene eventually.
Yeah, especially in the US where we don't have gaming clubs. We don't have a lot of pickup. We have a big pickup game culture, so you
Yeah.
build your army using the balanced match play competitive rule set because you don't know what kind of opponent you're going to be playing against. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I know you were hitting on it a lot in that story there, so let's talk about it. Custodes and the
Yeah,
assassins prepare for
Custodians.
war.
So yeah, this is the next book that's coming out, which is the Liber Imperium, which interestingly, only has rules for loyalists. So there's going to be no traitors in this one. And it's funny because traders are like, "Oh, Games Workshop hates traitor." It's like, well, actually, you have an entire army called demons that are traitor only. So calm down. But
Well, GW does hate traitors, so let's
do
be
they
real.
hate traitors? I don't know, man. The Horus model says otherwise.
I mean, true. I don't think I've seen a more beautiful model
Yeah.
from the Horus Heresy line than that one.
Um. But yeah, so let's talk about this. So first off, Custodes. I mean, this is the big boogeyman. Custodes were incredibly overpowered last edition, just by virtue of being Custodes. And I could expect to see that trend this edition. I don't see how they're gonna suck unless their points cost are just absurdly high. I mean, just look at this rule they have. So Custodes get a bonus against Nemesis units, and Nemesis units are Primarchs, Dreadnoughts, monsters, etc. Essentially everything that's not like everything big that's on a vehicle, or units that have weapon skill 5, ballistic skill 5, which is a lot of elite Space Marine units like Justarin, Galvorback, Suzerain all have weapon skill 5. And Custodians just get free bonuses against it. They get +1 attack, +1 a charge, and they don't need worse than a 4-up to hit. And it's like, wow, that's a pretty big. Those are pretty big bonuses.
It sounds like they're still the boogeyman.
Yeah, I don't see Custodians not being the boogeyman. So
You think
like,
they're gonna be points increased though?
uh,
Compared to
it,
last edition?
it's unclear because the balance is all over the place with Horus Heresy in terms of how units are performing. So I don't know. No.
Well, going by last edition, how would you say the Custodians were pointed? Fairly, underpointed, or overpointed?
I think slightly underpointed just because of the damage they do. I mean, it's mostly an army restriction thing. Like if you had a balanced Custodes army that had and honestly this goes for most of 30K. Like if you have a balanced army that you have a good amount of infantry, a good amount of vehicles, a good amount of dreadnoughts, like the game is not that unbalanced. It's pretty fun, but if you skew really hard, like for Custodes, it was the vehicle spam. Like if you took 3 tanks and then a bunch of jet bikes and just had like this mobile skimmer gun line, it was pretty brutal. But if you just took all infantry, the game, it was a tough army to play against, but it wasn't unbeatable and it wasn't unfun play against kind of thing. So honestly, it's less a points thing, it's more an army composition thing, which I don't know how you're gonna fix from a competitive standpoint, because what's stopping someone from just taking all the good stuff?
I see. Okay then, well, maybe they will correct it. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? We'll see. We'll see.
It's also you got the assassins in this book.
Yes, loyalists, not traitors, got assassins, and which is interesting because we had some assassins in the traitor army, but or sorry, in the novels for traitors, it seems like we won't see any rules here. I mean, there were even in the novels, it was like one or two assassins that get corrupted during a mission, but generally speaking, only the loyalists employed them because they're all Malcador's operatives. And it's exciting to be able to use the assassin models in 30K because they're pretty cool. The plastic assassins. It would be nice to have them.
Are they gonna be in 30K? The
Yep.
current ones that we have?
Yep. Like this picture is the Calidus assassin, or sorry, the Calexis assassin.
I didn't scroll down far enough.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, cool.
And
Which means
it
we'll
seems
be
like they
getting
have
the other assassins in 40K.
that'll be interesting if we see the new assassins in 40K.
The
But yeah,
Venom
so
assassin.
assassins are going to be there. I don't think they're going to be that game changing. I think they're just going to be kind of cute to have, especially because the HQ slot is pretty competitive in 30K.
Are
And
assassins HQ slots?
yeah, they're a not. You could add an assassin as a non-compulsory HQ in your loyalist army, and yeah,
Ooh. Yeah, that's gonna be brutal.
yeah. So I don't think they're going to be that OP because you need those HQs, you need those librarians and those other consoles. So I think they're going to be more balanced than Custodes. I think they're going to be a nice addition. It's not going to break the game.
I don't know, I think you can find something to use the assassins for.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be, I think they're going to be a fun addition for sure.
Especially the Calexis assassin against their certain Thousand Sons army. I think and word bearers. I think you got a good chances there. So very cool.
Yeah. And finally, we have, if you scroll a bit up, we got the Solar Auxilia, which are kind of the elite humans. So Solar Auxilia think of them more as kind of scions, but they're their own army with their own, army list. They're not just an addition to the guard army. And I think these guys actually, so take back what I said earlier. I think these guys could be traitor because the novels have a lot of Solar Auxilia formations that join Horus. So I can imagine you being able to use this as a traitor army. And it's all infantry and tanks, like, classic guard. But this is separate from the Imperial Army, which we're gonna get as a PDF. And it looks like they have a rule where the tertio, so you have so a unit can share reactions. So if a unit's targeted by reaction, units nearby could also participate in that reaction, which makes sense because they're less elite than Space Marine, so taking advantage of their numbers would be good for them.
Very cool. Superhuman, well, not regular humans getting some spotlight.
Exactly. And once again, this will be another meta changer because now you gotta factor in these like there's a lot of guns that are like, oh, this gun sucks because it's not AP3 or it's not AP2. It's like, well, now with Solar Aux coming in, having some AP5 weapons will matter. AP4 weapons will matter.
Well, and there'll probably be a lot cheaper units to take to hold objectives, assuming they'll have objectives secure on them.
Yes. Yes. Did I go on my rant on objectives in 30K? How they don't matter?
Yes, you have.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, unless the missions change. But
Yeah, but
oh,
they're cheap units to put on to objectives.
right, it's not like Space Marines where you have you're spending a minimum of 100 points to hold an objective. Yeah, you can put like a 45-point squad to just kind of grab an objective for the end game, which isn't as big as an investment as a tax squad. It's going to do nothing. But yeah, regular humans. Hopefully, the PDF comes before or when this comes out, because Imperial Army is also Imperial Army. I think is a more fun list for humans because the Imperial Army, which is called the Imperial Militia lists and cults list, lets you customize your army. So if you want to do like because Solar Aux, is a specific kind of force in 30K with their own models. I mean, they use Lehman Russ tanks and whatnot, but like their infantry has a very specific look to them. While as Imperialist militia and cults, they're more of a template to designing your own human army. So if you want to use, for example, the 40K guard models and say these are, Terran pattern guardsmen or Imperial Army, you could do that. If you want to use all chaos cultist models, then you would just get the upgrade that, gives like you wouldn't take the armor upgrade, you would take the close combat weapon upgrade, swapping your guns for close combat weapons like an occultist horde. If you want to do squats, you could do the upgrade that gives them better fire better more advanced weaponry. So maybe they get like reroll ones or something on their last guns or equivalent. So it's very customizable. If you want to do like a cultist horde, you can do that. If you want to do standard Imperial Army, you can do that. If you want to do like a squat army or like a Death Corps style army, or or maybe you want to do an advanced kind of elite infantry force, kind of like Solar Aux, but with your own fluff, you could do that too. So that's I'm more excited about that than Solar Aux.
The rocks in general. I get it. Sounds like a lot of opportunities to be had.
Yes, and we'll definitely shake the meta up because now you got really different armies coming up.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. When did you say this coming out? December?
This is October.
October. So literally
Not
next month.
Yeah, hopefully it's like early mid-October, not like October 30th pre-order.
It's gonna be October 30th pre-order.
I know.
Well, I guess we'll find out when what am I thinking? Model of the month comes out.
Yes.
We'll see if that's the big thing. Well, shall we move on to our final story then? Still related to 30K.
More heresy.
This will be our new model Monday right here.
Here
We
we-
got another assassin.
Yeah, the Venom Assassin.
Yes, it's looking good. I don't think I like the helmet as much, but I guess it's more going for the 30K aesthetic.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting. It's another new assassin.
Yeah, but I am excited to see how these would play more in 40K than I am 30K.
Are they getting 40K rules? I don't know if they confirmed that.
Yeah, but that's my hope.
Oh, the hope. Yeah, hope is they get 40K rules. That'd be cool. That's always a good thing.
I know they haven't confirmed that they're going to be in 40K, but given how it usually goes, I assume they will get 40K rules. These guys will be probably way overpriced for what they do, but
Right.
I'm sure they could do something.
Yeah, I wonder how this guy's gonna work because this has got someone who would, poison your drink or something. I guess you could shoot poison darts or stab someone. with poison, but it's like if you're gonna stab someone, why not just send the Calidus or an Eversor? Who's really good at stabbing. But yeah, we'll see how his rules will pop out.
Well, I assume since it's gonna be like 7th edition, I assume it'll be like Dark Eldar. You know, they'll have the poison that wounds on a 4+. Would just be my guess.
Right.
Whether or not it does something special is, we'll find out. But definitely be wounding superhumans on a 4+. Probably will have no effect on Primarchs, if I had to guess.
Probably. I think they're immune to poison anyway. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's why I assume it would have no effect on them.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I think the only other thing you could do is try to make him like super fast. Because I assume he's not gonna last too long against a Space Marine.
I don't know. Assassins usually have invul saves, and invul saves. There's very. I can't think of anything in 30k that ignores invulnerable saves. So maybe he has some staying power thanks to his unnatural reflexes.
Yeah. Well, I would if I had to assume. Well, you can confirm this. Is challenges still a thing?
It is absolutely still a thing.
I assume he's gonna be a challenge killer. He's just gonna go in, challenge
Oh, that'd be
a
kind of
unit leader, and just kill him. And then not have to worry about fighting the other Marines, and then just have hit and run tactics. But
right.
that's probably very game breaking, so it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah,
That's
we'll
just
see. We'll see. I mean,
hopeful
some
thinking.
things in 30k are just unnaturally game breaking, but yeah, it's part of the game, I guess.
I don't know. I mean, that's just how I would design this assassin.
Right, right. I can see just having some stupid rule where he has like an assault 12 poison gun that wounds on 6 but ignores armor saves or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like
no,
assassins could be broken. We just
haven't had the rules
it's
yet.
very possible. There's my point being like there doesn't seem to be an incentive to be balanced in 30k. Just which honestly, if everything was just OP, that would be great. No problem with that.
I see. Well, October.
October.
October, we will find out. And that is it in terms of the 40k articles. I don't know. Did any Star Wars news or
The
anything
Battlefront
else?
came out, I guess. X-wing, not really. Conquest had some new minis, but
War Machine, War Hordes.
uh, October launch. Actually, it's not even a launch. They said like, oh, the actual launch is next year. I'm like, what?
That's not
Uh,
a good sign.
that's weird. But we're releasing the army boxes. I don't know. Come back in October when there's more War Machine content.
Okay, well, very disappointing to hear about that.
I think
guess
they released the privateer press. So they have some time. The rules or the army lists that are going to make it to the prime. Um,
to the prime
the legacy
game,
army,
the
the prime.
competitiveness.
Yeah. So Man of War. I'm just gonna tell you the ones that matter. Man of War are coming. Winter Guard. These are the ones that are getting rules at launch. Ooh, Circle only black clads and Tharn. So no. Well, maybe they will. There will be.
You tell me Bardark not going to be in there.
Features. What's up?
You tell me Bardark isn't going to be in there. I don't remember his name.
What's it?
Braddock.
Was it Bradigus? Maybe. Because these are just like theme forces, but typically all casters can take all theme forces in third edition. So I think it's just for like infantry and stuff. I think Warjacks and War Beasts I think all of them are getting rules, minus the Gargantuans, Colossals. So maybe Blackclads could take stone creatures and be cool with it. But Man of War that's confirmed coming. And Winter Guard if you have Winter Guard.
I don't have any guard. I am a
Good
man of
boy.
war.
There you go, Man of
Stand
War.
only.
Man of War happening.
Is Sorsha going to be in there, though?
Probably.
Then
She is
all is
literally
good.
for sure the new Sorcerer is going to be in there because she's literally a Man of War. She's the only Man of War warcaster.
Then all is good in the world.
Yes.
Oh, that's sad to hear. Well, tell me about this 30k game you had with your Mechanicus.
Yeah, so I had a 2v2. It was supposed to be a 3v3, but 2 people dropped. So 2v2 Mechanicum and Word Bearers on my side versus Salamanders and Iron Hands Dreadnoughts. Yeah, I kind of smashed them. Well, it wasn't like a tabling, but you know, at the end of the game, I lost like 5 Thalax, which are like the infantry. Mainly because my word bearer buddy took most of the damage. You know, I think at the end of the game he only had. I mean, he had his Death Star possessed and Argyle Tall and a chaplain, and he had a dreadnought left. So actually, yeah, he barely had anything left. The Salamanders guy also had like 1 character left, and the Iron Hands guy had about 6 dreadnoughts left. But I had most of my army intact, so the objective was go to your enemy deployment zone, and it was long ways deployment on like an 8x4 or 8x6 board. So yeah, they had a ways to cross, and I just shot them. I mean, this is the first 30k game I've played ever where I didn't reach combat. I there were no charges for me. No one reached combat. I think I overwatched, but they failed to charge. That was the closest to get into combat. But other than that, no combat because Mechanicum, I think a good way to describe Mechanicum is they're a combination of Tau and Necrons, where they have really good shooting and they're pretty tanky.
I was gonna say, how is playing Tau feel like?
Oh, it was great. It was amazing. And Mechanicum, they don't necessarily suck in combat, but they suck in combat because they have no answers to weapon skill 5 units, which Space Marines have easy access to. So when you're playing against Mechanicum and you have a combat army, you'll probably do well. If you're playing against Solar Ox and you have a combat army, you do well. Even if you're playing against Space Marines, if they don't have a lot of Contemptors or elite infantry with weapon skill 5, you'll probably do fine. It's just that like 5 Castellax will lose to 1 Contemptor. Castellax being like the Castellan robot equivalent, they will lose to a Contemptor because they have weapon skill 4, and the Contemptor has weapon skill 5, and the Contemptor is a brutal weapon, which means the damage multiplies when he's hitting a robot. While the Castellax only have like mini rending weapons. So yeah, so they have some melee game, just not against Space Marines. And again, most people playing Space Marines, I build my army as full shooting. I had 3 Thanatars, which were the big robots. One of them has like a super last cannon that rolls 2d6 for armor pen and fires 3 shots. So turn 1, I blew up my friend Spartan with his Fire Drake, Salamander's Death Star of Fire Drake Terminators. And then the next 2-3 turns, I just bombarded him with my Thanatars with their plasma mortars. And yeah, and actually every army but mine was a kind of a mid-range army. I mean, everyone had some guns, some long-range guns, but most of their points were in units. So they were, spending 1 or 2 turns trying to get up, and I was just shooting my buddies, Salamanders and Iron Hands up with my robots.
As you do as a Tau player.
Exactly. So yeah, that was a fun debut of my fully painted army, and I will continue to play Mechanicum because they're fun. Robots are cool.
Yeah. Anything else hobby wise?
Played Kill Team with Will. Actually, we're trying to get into that again. I busted out my Commando Orcs against his Death Corps, and it was really fun. Actually, just picked up some the Traitor Guard Kill Team, so we could do some Siege of Vrax action, which is one of the old Forge World campaign books. That was Death Corps versus Traitor Guard. So that's good. So I just primed them yesterday. I'm gonna be paying them later. But yeah, so it's pretty much that for
Nice.
some more Warhammer all the time.
Of course. Well, for me, I got to go against good old Greg's demons. So that was an interesting game. With how much it's been a very long time since I fought a full demon army.
How did that go?
It was close until turn 4. Then turn 4 kind of all went downhill for me.
Oof.
It was demons against Thousand Suns. Belcor is a monster, of course, with all his abilities and combat prowess. But
What army did you bring?
he brought demons.
What did you bring?
I brought Thousand Suns.
Gotcha.
So it was interesting to see the save characteristic for demons pretty much meaning it's not called hex death anymore, which removed the invul saves because demons don't have invul saves. They have demon saves, so that spell is completely worthless. And you cannot modify any demon saves at all. So that was interesting stuff to learn about.
Yeah, technically invul. So many more rules.
It's a lot. I wasn't too impressed with the bloodletters, though. The what's the bloodletter leader? The bloodletter herald, I guess.
Yeah, the herald. Yeah.
Skull taker, or whatever.
Yeah.
He's a beast. He's a monster. When he can hit, because being able to go through your armor and do 4 damage, I want to say it's either 4 or 3 damage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was chopping Terminators up like crazy. All in all, brutal. His Bloodthirster, completely worthless. I shot him to death before he could do anything. But being toughness 8 is a nice plus, because I think they used to be toughness 7, right? The
Yes.
Did I say Demon Prince? I meant Bloodthirster. All the greater demons all used to be like toughness 7. Now toughness 8, a little harder. Well, a little bolter's not doing too much damage. But yeah, it was, like I said, it was a very close game until turn 4. Then it was like I was losing units left and right.
Oof.
Because my saves just weren't cutting it. And I kind of whiffed on some crucial attacks, but that is life, unfortunately.
It happens. It's because it's a new codex.
It's a new codex. Codex creep. Can't believe GW doesn't balance the game.
Fairly bad. Speaking of codex creep, though, those Votan. I saw this new thing they have where they have an ability that lets them just auto wound.
Yep.
And they have this gun that ignores invul saves and does splash damage or something. So I think if you use the right stratagems or whatever, you pretty much guarantee like a hit and do like 12 damage or something, which could remove just 12 models from a single wound unit, or remove 6 Space Marines instantly, or 4 Terminators.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I did mention there was some non-GW news, or not. There's some non-GW articles out there as well, but I'll finish my hobby stuff. Then I got some Star Wars Legion stuff.
Oh, nice.
I got the Death Troopers. The Shore Troopers were sold out, so I went with the next best thing, some regular Stormtroopers.
There you go. Always a good choice.
And good old Boba Fett.
Nice.
And then I feel like I got one more thing, but I can't really remember. I kind of bought them, and then I'm like, I will get to these eventually. So yeah, I got all that. That's gonna be looking nice once I get that all built. So I can finally do 800 points of Star Wars Legion.
Oh, we should totally play.
Oh, the recon. I got the recon troops, scout troops.
Oh, Scout Troopers, yeah, those are cool because you get the sniper team and the demo team for some
Yes.
cheap activations.
Yes. So I got all that. That is good to go. And yeah, I haven't done any painting or anything. Slacking on that.
It's okay, it happens.
But other news. Votan.
Yeah,
Combat Patrol. Been
it's out, right?
yes. We got one call, which is the guy in the Terminator armor.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the Emperor's Champion. 10 Hearthkin, the basic troop. 5 Sithonian Berserkers, and 3 Harkin Pioneers, which are the bikes. That's gonna be the Combat Patrol box. So probably gonna be around $150 for this, maybe 120. What would you range it at?
Combat Patrol?
Yeah,
I think they're all 140.
140.
We'll check. They are all 150 right now. Price hike. Yep.
So yeah, it's gonna be $150.
Yeah, not bad.
I think you definitely get a lot more out of it than most Combat Patrols that are currently out there. Though, like I've stated last time, I haven't really been following the Votan news. So, I don't know how good anything is. I'm kind of just waiting to be surprised. Because I know someone in my group will probably buy the Votan box and just play the army.
There you go.
And I'm sure it'll be very popular at LVO.
Oh, I'm sure. But I'll be playing Heresy, so won't have to deal with that.
Oh, yeah, you will. They'll just be proxy to squats.
Oh, there you go. There'll be militia. It's okay. I'll just drop my Blood Angels guaranteed turn 2 charge list. Kill some squats.
Yeah. So we got that. And then Azraka, the Annihilator, his rules got leaked.
Who's that?
Azraka, Azrak, the Annihilator.
Is that a Votan guy or?
No, it's a Chaos Terminator.
Oh, the Warhammer Plus guy, the one I paid for.
Yes, the one you paid for. His data sheet got leaked out.
Okay.
It's movement 5, 2 attacks. Or sorry, weapon skill, blitz skill 2, and 4, toughness 4, 7 wounds, 5 attacks, and obviously a 2+ save for being a Terminator.
Yep.
Has a bit more wounds, but less, -1 attack. He has 1 less attack than a Chaos Lord. So, but other than that, yeah, that's all the big stuff that I've accumulated. I haven't really seen anything else that's really caught my attention. Other than a certain rules change they did. I don't know if you heard about.
Which one?
Heard about this. It's the ability to charge through terrain.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. But I didn't read through it exactly.
So, if as it was right now, I think they reverted it back to what it used to be. But if you were in a building and you weren't directly on the wall, but you're within an inch of it,
Mhm.
to where if you were to get charged through the wall, they couldn't put their bases down because you were blocking them from being evenly placed.
Oh, okay.
That was a strategy, just so that they would have to awkwardly like go around the building to charge you in order to get the base to base contact with you.
Oh, okay.
So that was the normal rule. Then they changed it to where if you're obscured and they can't get to you, they could be 2 inches away from you on the wall and still hit you. Which, of course, led to its own set of problems.
Right.
Because it made the 9-inch charge into a 7-inch charge. Because now they only had to be 2 inches away from you instead of the normal 1 inch away from you.
Hmm.
So, after the shenanigans happened with that, they apparently reverted that change back to its original state.
Well, of course, once it's released there, the 40K community will immediately break it,
That's what we do.
as per usual.
But yeah, so they didn't they had released a mini update, but they didn't highlight it in purple or anything about the change. So I don't know why GW wouldn't have done that, but here we are. Not much has changed though, according to me, because it's been so long since I've played a 40K game, except for last week. But before that, I would not have known that rule had changed because I haven't been following it really. Work has just been so much.
It happens.
Yep,
Warhammer will always be there.
exactly. The boys will always be there to play some Warhammer with. That's all that matters. All right, well, you got any other things you want to talk about? Because that was pretty much all I've got.
I think that was it.
All right, then. I guess we will call it there. I'd like to thank everyone who made it to the end, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good one.